it's Carly Burr, and welcome to Taking Life Offline. I'm so excited to share my first ever episode with you, and I'm also a bit nervous because I have to type out my episodes almost word for word at this point because I'm the biggest rambler in the entire world. I am not experienced enough to just be able to perfectly deliver clearly exactly what is in my head. If I try to do it unscripted, at this point, it just ends up being super jumbled and all over the place. And the initial message that I was trying to get across gets lost along the way. So bear with me as I learn this craft, and I know that with time, I will get better. So here we go. As I sat down to start planning out my podcast, I immediately thought of the bus station story as being maybe my first episode. And let me tell you what the bus station story is. It's a short story that I wrote about 5 years ago while sitting at my desk job that I didn't particularly like, for lack of better words. And so I often found myself just in my Google Documents writing out videos I could film for YouTube, basically just writing out anything that was on my head. And the bus station story was one of those things that just came to me at that time. So it's actually crazy because when I wrote this, I thought it was such a great way to paint a picture of life offline, but I never found the right time or place to tell this story. So this podcast just felt like the right time and the right place to finally tell the story. So I'm excited about it because it represents so many things. And as you listen, feel free to let your mind take you where it will, but I'm sharing today in hopes to paint a picture and give you a feeling as to what you can expect to feel here on my podcast. So without further ado, here is the bus station story. Put on your imagination mind and let this story come to life for you. Imagine you're sitting at a bus station. This bus station, it represents a new beginning for you. You're putting your past behind you. You bought a one-way bus ticket to the rest of your life and how you're going to show up for it. And you get to decide. This decision is yours. As you sit and wait for the buses to arrive, you're feeling a little excited, a little anxious, maybe like how you feel when you're going to your first day of school in the 5th grade and it's a new classroom and it's a new teacher and you get to see who's in your class for the year, kind of that anxious type of feeling. So as you're sitting waiting for these buses to arrive, you're taking a look around you. There's some empty seats you see that are a bit rusted and worn. There are also quite a few people sitting, waiting like you for the bus. But rather than their faces, you're seeing more of their foreheads and their hairlines. It seems almost everyone is looking down at various bright screens. This makes you feel a bit uncomfortable because as your eyes are scanning what's around you, you notice there are only a few others like you who are also looking around, and you awkwardly kind of lock eyes occasionally with these people. Finally, the first bus arrives, and this bus is beeping, this bus is bumping, the bus has bright colors painted on the outside of it and immediately grabs your attention not only visually, but it's also hard to ignore with the volume of music that's playing as well. The bus driver opens the door and shouts for everyone to begin boarding the bus, and quickly. You see the people on their screens peer up for a quick second to see the bright bus and begin lining up to load. The line quickly becomes quite long and you decide to wait a minute before getting up to stand in line. After all, everyone's still looking down, avoiding conversation while waiting in line, so you feel as if they wouldn't really notice if you were there either way. You can hear the bus driver speaking loudly, trying to talk over loud music to all the passengers as they load the bus, and this is what he's saying. I promise to take you on the ride of a lifetime. This bus will be smooth sailing with no bumps along the way. I'll avoid the potholes, take the necessary detours to avoid the storms, and I'll get you to your destination as quickly as possible. But because I promised to get you there quickly, I must drive at full speed the whole entire time. And in order to avoid the potholes and storms, we may end up crashing due to the intense speeds we'll be traveling, but that's only happened to a few other buses before where the people were never seen again, but I think our odds are pretty good. After hearing that, you're somewhat alarmed and begin wondering why on earth all the people are still continuing to board this bus, even after what the driver had just said. But they didn't seem to hear the driver, or if they did, they didn't seem to care. They were too busy on their screens. As you sit there waiting, you notice something just past the line, and behind the bright and flashy bus, there's a second bus. You hadn't even noticed it pull in. The bus looks simple. In fact, it looks a little weathered and a little worn. You could tell it had once been white, as there were a few remaining brushes of dulled paint among the gray, rusty exterior. There's no loud music, no shouting bus driver, just a short line on the outside, probably a fourth as long as the line for the first bus. You take a look at the people in line for the second bus. They are all engaged in conversation, laughing and smiling as they load one by one. As you scan your eyes down the line, you see the person in the very back staring directly at you with a slight smile on their face, with their hand stretched forth as if to say, "Come on, we see you. We're waiting for you. Join us. We love you. We want you to come and be with us. Be with the few of us." So you walk past the loud, flashy bus and make your way to the outstretched hand, and as you join hands, the line instantly begins to move forward. Now you're walking up the steps and you lock eyes with the bus driver, who warmly smiles and says, "Welcome. We're so glad you're here. I promise to support you along this ride, but I cannot promise that we won't hit bumps along the way. The road is worn and bumpy, and it can be quite windy. You may fall off your seat a few times, but I do promise that when that happens, there will always be someone on this bus to grab your hand and help you back up to safety on your seat. The ride won't always be enjoyable. There will be times you don't think you're ever going to make it, and the weather may get gloomy, but we'll weather the storms together, accepting them as they come, but not letting them set the tone for the rest of our journey. I can't also say that we'll get to your destination very quickly. After all, this bus is old and it's worn. It requires frequent stops where I perform maintenance and fill up with gas. But along the way, you'll have the chance to experience the beauty that this countryside has to offer. You'll get out, you'll pick the beautiful flowers from the rolling fields, you'll take in the fresh air and feel the cool breeze on your face. You'll have the chance to dance in the warm rain and sing songs with the fellow riders and make many new and lasting friends along the way. It'll be quite the journey, he says, but the lessons you'll learn, the experiences you'll have, and who you become along the way will make this journey well worth it. And so is life. I hope that this story has created a visual and a feeling that can help describe what I am trying to show you can exist on this path less traveled, the path I'm inviting you on and encouraging you along the way here on this podcast. Now let's break down this analogy a little bit. First of all, I hope this podcast is a place where you come and feel an escape from pressures of the world. To be able to slow things down, come back to what matters, reset, and feel like you're supported in your efforts. I also hope it's a place where you feel less alone in the struggle that I know it is to go offline. So let's talk about these buses. The first bus represents the life that the world so convincingly promotes, telling us that this is the way to happiness, this is the way to fit in, the way that everyone seems to be taking it. It's quick, it's painless, and you won't feel a thing. It's distracting, it's loud, it's constantly in your face. It's very much like life on social media. It ignores or band-aids issues, it hides them behind filters, likes, and external validation. Keeps these things locked down and not worked through. It keeps them on the back burners if they don't exist, distracting your focus and distorting reality, never giving you the full truth, only a curated glimpse into another's filtered world. The second bus, on the other hand, represents life from the path less traveled on these days. But this path in the end brings more simplicity and gives you the most human experience, which includes all the emotions in between. Being present, feeling through all these different phases of life. And yes, it's rough, and at times you'll feel like you won't make it through. But that's normal, and it's part of the natural process. But with the support of the right people, there will always be someone to help you get back up and stay course when you feel like you've fallen short. This path doesn't give filters, band-aids, likes, or any other surface level mechanism the time of day. We're not for quick fixes. We're for getting to the source of our issues and feelings, laying them out, being honest with ourselves and others, and putting a plan in action in play in our lives to continue to improve better and become the greatest versions of who we can be for us and for those we love, and not for the masses. In the world we live in today, we've been spoon-fed countless lies about who we should be. That we should be doing this, we want instant gratification always, that is just kind of what's sexy. But there's a price we pay for conforming and trying to avoid or mask the issues that we may face along our way. And that price you pay is your life. You risk your life. your life being bumpy but beautiful and unique just like you. When I see the people who get on that first bus, I see the parent glued to their screen while their beautiful child is in the background repeatedly saying their name, begging for their attention. I see the teenagers at prom hoping to have the best night of their life so far and looking around the restaurant table to only see everyone in their party on their phones instead of enjoying the moment together. I see the person desperate for validation and acceptance, so they lower their values and standards to get external attention that will only make them feel less than later on. I see the incredible human full of so much potential, feeling discouraged and like they're not enough due to the pressures of the world and the unreal expectations of social media. And when I see these people lined up for the flashy bus, I want to grab them by the hand. I want to bring them to me to the bus less traveled on. I want to sit them down on that bus and help point out the amazing scenery, the beauty that surrounds us as we drive down the windy road that's lush with greenery. And I want to help them back onto their seat when they fall off and dance with them in the rain. I want to hug them when they're feeling alone, and I want to learn from them and teach them and pick the flowers along the way. And though the road may get bumpy and dark and clouds at times may occupy the sky, we will sing and lift each other up when the weather has you down. And in that moment, you will realize this is living. This is life. The conversations that we have, the path we choose to take, the bumps we hit along the way. The journey is rocky and it will be rough, but it can also be so beautiful. And it should, but you must open your eyes. You must fall down. You have to get back up. This can't be the end for you. This is only the beginning. This is a lesson here to teach you on your way to who you're supposed to be. And this is what this podcast is here to help you do, to be the place to start again, to consider a life lived offline, a more intentional life about who you're becoming, to create and craft a foundation for a well-rounded life, whatever that might look like for you, and a place where I can be your friend and supporter along the way. I'm here promoting the path less traveled, as it's never failed to bring me closer to myself and to what matters most in my life. And my hope is that you'll experience that too, as you take a ride on this weathered bus with me. So come on, we're waiting for you. Join us. We love you. We want you to come and be with the few of us who have found a better way of life, offline and more in line with who we are meant to be. So I'm absolutely thrilled that you're here. Thank you so much for listening, and I'm looking forward to taking this journey with you, with all the ups and downs that are included. I'm here for all of it, and I hope that you'll be here too. Hey, thank you so much for listening to my first episode. I really want to know what you think, and I'm going to challenge you right off the bat to take action right now. And this action is to leave an honest review on my show, letting me know your honest thoughts, because I don't have social media. I don't promote my podcast anywhere aside from posting the visual to YouTube. So I'm going to need your help to help other people find this podcast so we can have a greater impact. So if you leave an honest review on my show and share this episode, that would help me more than you would ever know. And it will help bring more people to be able to find us on this path less traveled. It's like you extending your metaphorical hand from the second bus here in our story. So thanks for watching the video version of my first podcast episode here on YouTube. If you like podcasts, you should go and subscribe to my show wherever you listen to your podcasts. It's available there, and you can listen instead of watch me trying to figure this thing out over here. So I appreciate you being here, and I will catch you next time.